Okay, so now we're going to get into some editing tools. I'm going to clean up some headphone bleed. Everything that you can do to clean up anything that's going to be problematic, noise, headphone bleed, clicks, pops, mouth, you know, all that stuff. It's a gross sound, I know. The more you can do with that, the bigger your mix is going to be. So I'm going to show you a couple tools that I use in Pro Tools. One of them is built right in. It's called Strip Silence. And if you're not familiar, I'm just going to show that to you really quick. You can see this waveform here. It doesn't have anything at the tail end, so I'm going to use my key command S at the end of this right here, and it's going to chop all the way back to this region. This clip is what Pro Tools would call it. Okay, now if I hit E, that's going to zoom in and out my full waveform view of this waveform. Okay, so now I can get in and I can go, okay, where's the headphone bleed? Where is this stuff going on? A lot of the times what really helps for me is you can see the gain of these things, like the yeah. See how they're all kind of different? And then it goes down in gain here. What I like to do is like almost a preliminary thing to Strip Silence is I'll blade, I just hit B on the clip, and I'll start to adjust these yeahs to be like about the same amount, right? Like, so you can see like the gain on these. I want to gain them out a little bit. So this is yeah. You could see the top of them, the peaks. And if you hold down command, or I'm sorry, I think you have to click and then hold down command and then drag. You can go in smaller increments, okay? So I'm going to try and match that pretty well to the second one. And there you go. And then if I want to start to gain these up so that when I do Strip Silence, the gain is all equal across, I can just blade there and I can gain these guys up. So let's get rid of, like, for example, let's not bring this guy in there. Let's blade that. Just hitting B on the keypad. I'm also going to blade this. I'm just going to highlight that and I'm going to hit B. And then now I have these guys, which are a little bit lower in volume. I can bring them up, right? So I'm holding down command and I'm dragging up. And I'm just trying to match like the peaks over here, like get them pretty close, like closer than they were. And now I got a nice gain there, and I'm going to gain this last clip up here, okay? So if I zoom in and out, you can see kind of like how much gain is going on here. I like to look at it pretty tight, but now I don't have to compress as much as well. Like when the compressor hits the it's going to hit it the same way that it hits these things, right? Because they're all kind of the same gain. So again, let's do that first. I'm going to gain everything out to be a little bit more equal. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. Hit E again to get my full view. And now let's strip the silence. Let's strip all the silent parts that we want to be silent. And let's zoom in the waveform, and you can see all this noise. There's just a ton of noise, right? So let's zoom back out, and let's hit Command U, and that's going to open up the Strip Silence dialog box. Or you can go to Edit, and you can go to Strip Silence. Let me see, right here, Command U or Strip Silence under Edit Strip Silence. Now we're going to open this up. This has a few controls under it. The only two that I really worry about are these top two. These are really the only ones that matter. And then the clip start and end, you can kind of like, you know, finagle what you want out of that. This is already pretty good and set up because I already did this. But you can see where it's stripping the silence. Like you could see the containers, the boxes around the audio. And, you know, some of this stuff, that might be a breath you want to keep or whatever. But just keep mental note of that because we'll do this a little bit manual, but we'll use this first. Okay, so I'm going to take the in pad. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to work with this threshold only. I'm going to get around these boxes, right? So I want these boxes to be like around the majority of the big stuff, right? There you go. So now we have like these little boxes. It's not perfect, but we'll get there. Like, see, that's getting really tight. We don't want that. There you go. And then you have a minimum strip duration. I usually keep that probably at like 0 milliseconds. It really doesn't matter too much. But you can see some weird edits there. So we can start to use this end pad, and we can kind of pad that out at the end. So that's about good. And again, with editing, you just want to chop and then you want to smooth out. That's the way you edit. You don't want to go like super perfect on Strip Silence. Okay, we hit strip and then there you go. You're left with just that stuff. If I undo it, hit strip again, you can see what's going on there. Undo, Strip Silence. We're trying to get rid of the headphone bleed. Okay, now the next move on this is to do some manual stuff. So I'll go in here and I'll tighten up these edits a little bit. You know, bear, there you go, there, bear. I don't know where bear came from. Okay, and then we tighten that up a little bit, and we could do the same thing all the way through with these. I'm not going to do every single one. I'm just showing you how I edit, because I like my edits really tight. I really don't like a whole lot of headphone bleed or like any weirdness at the beginning of the files. Like I want this to be super tight, especially when it's just like a yeah. That's all you need. You just need the yeah. You don't need yeah. You don't need any breaths. You don't need anything else. No mouth clicks, pops, nothing like that. Okay, so I'm going in and I'm just like checking everything. This looks good here. This looks pretty good. Just tighten that up. I'll just go through. And if you zoom in on a clip, you're always going to go to the left of it. If you just hit the right arrow, it'll go to the back of the clip. That's just something that might help you with your workflow. You can see here, this kind of missed this. It's got like a weird breath thing in it. I'm just going to tighten that way up. I don't need any of that. And maybe I do. Maybe I'll listen to it and I'll go, oh, it does need a breath. It sounds kind of weird without the breath. But for now, I'm just going to tighten that up. And I'll figure that out as I go, as I mix. And then this here, let's just tighten that up. And I'm just kind of reading the waveforms. Just tightening everything up. All right, so now I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm going to hit F. Okay, and F is just going to give me my fades. If you want to adjust your fades, your fade in, fade outs, you can hit Command F. You're going to open up the batch fades command window, and you can adjust the lengths here. Fade in, you could make it 25 milliseconds. You could say fade in, fade out is 25, or you could say fade in should be 25 and fade out should be 30, whatever you want to do. But you can see there, it just got it a little bit tighter on the fades, a little bit longer on the intro and the outro, the fade. You can go really, really tight with this stuff. It's just like very transient. Yeah, you know, depending on the material is depending on how you're going to be editing this, right? So like for here, I could go even longer of a fade. I just highlight the area, hit F. You can also go up to the corner here, and you can, if you're in the multiple tool here, multi-tool, you can also pull it in and out here, okay? So there you go. That's just one thing that you can use to trim and strip the silence of headphone bleed and noise within your track. I like to get these really tight. I would literally sit here and I would get pretty obsessive about this stuff, right? So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to hit A. I'm going to trim that out. I'm going to bring this in, right? I want this stuff to be super tight because as I compress and stuff, it's also going to bring this stuff up, right? So here we go. That looks pretty good, actually. Maybe too tight there. Just kind of loosen that up, and then we'll fade out a lot longer here, make it a little more natural. So there you go. You're just doing these by ear, by sight. You know, at first I do them by sight just because I've been doing this a long time, but then you could check them.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, another thing I highly stress that you, like I really think you should do is when you go to edit, you should always turn on some like good compression or a lot of processing just so you can hear any artifacts that might happen. So this is going to the vocal mix bus. Let's go up to the vocal mix bus and let's turn it on. Just the processing and stuff. We want to get some of these compressors and stuff going. So this way we can hear anything that's really popping out. Here's the vocal mix. Let's turn this guy on. And this is doing just some cleanup. I'm actually going to bypass that. I don't need the EQ for now. Looks like there's a compressor here, and this is going to be great. So we'll use this, and we'll use the EQ P1A, and we'll boost the crap out of the top end, just so we can hear any like problems. I love to do that, especially with tuning and editing. So we're just going to boost up at the top. We'll go 10K, and it looks like there's some boost at the bottom too, but we'll just back off on that. And let's listen to this. Probably have a way better idea of what it's doing.
Yeah. 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 Rolls Royce outside, so you know that's me. Chilling with your bitch, bumping Jodeci. They said he didn't live, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me.
Cool, right? So very, very simple way to hear a little bit more of that. You can also, right on the track, just throw a compressor on it, compress the hell out of it. That's a really good trick when you're editing, right? Because you want to hear everything, like any problems, any headphone bleed, anything that's going to happen further down the road as you're mixing your vocals, that you don't want to go back on the edit. You don't want to go back on the tuning because all of a sudden you start processing and now you can hear all this sibilance that came out, or you can hear all of these problems in the headphone bleed, or that mouth click really started popping out, you know? So I'm just going to go to Opto Smooth, and we're going to make the attack a little bit slower. and we'll just compress the crap out of this thing. And you're going to hear any problems right away.
Yeah. 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 Rolls Royce outside, so you know that's me. Chilling with your bitch, bumping Jodeci. They said he didn't live, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me.
So it's weird. You have like this weird like ducking thing going on here, where it's like, yeah, right after this. So there's that weirdness there.
They said he didn't live, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me.
Sounds like an automated ride. You know that's me. Yeah. You know, like it was me. Yeah. It's like weird to my ear. It catches my ear. So we want to make sure that like this phrase right here, you can literally just like blade it and turn it up. So we don't miss that last part of that line, because it starts to sound like a compressor pumping. So let me show you the difference here.
They said he didn't live, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me.
See, now you got, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me. Like, instead of it going, so you know that's me. Yeah, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know, it's a weird thing that catches my ear. But, you know, you don't need to get too in detail with these things right now. What I'm trying to really show you in this module is the strip silence, get rid of headphone bleed. There's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to show you another way right now, and that is straight up classic manual editing, right? Very, very simple. I'd zoom way into the waveform. I'd look at what I got here, and I would go over here, and I'd say A, and I'd pull this, and I'd go, okay, let's grab that. Let's hit delete. Let's fade, right? You can use the fade dialogues here if you have the smart tool on, the multiple tool or whatever, and then you can just make your fade on the region, and there you go. And you can do that all the way through manually. If you want to waste time, if you want to do this the most inefficient way possible, but you're also kind of OCD, that's the way to do it for you, right? Otherwise, you want to command U, you want to strip that silence, strip it out, and then you can go ahead and make your fades, do stuff a little bit less manual. The last way I'll show you is you could use like a third-party plugin, right? You can Audio Suite. Audio Suite has a ton of really cool things that you can get third-party. Isotope, of course, you know, if you go into Isotope, you're going to get the RX8, RX9. I don't even think I have RX9. Let me see. No, just RX8. So here's what you got here is you got breath control, connect, declick, clip, decrackle, dehum, deplosive. So you can use all these guys here, which is really great because if you want to just like print out the declick, you know, if you have all this clicking in the headphones, or maybe you got some crackling going on, or you got too much S's, like someone's really sibilant. Plosives, plo, yeah, you plo, you know, that kind of stuff. Get rid of it. Very simple. You just go to deplosive and you'll be able to just knock that out. So I use that usually for spotting, like spot treatment. So for example, like I strip the silence and then I go in and I'm like, yo, there's a plosive note right here. So I might just go like, okay, let's find a plosive real quick.
Yeah. Outside, so you know that's me. Chilling with your bitch, bumping Jodeci. They said he didn't live, so you know that's me. Yeah, you know that's me.
Well, not a lot of plosives in that part, right? But if you wanted to, for example, say this was like a P right here. You just select that clip and you just go up to Audio Suite, go to Isotope, and you can literally just on this one clip, you could say, hey, I want a declick, or I want a deplosive, right? And then you can actually just print that out instead of having plugins running all the time. Like I see people doing this all the time. Here's all these de-essers on here. Like just de-ess it with RX, and then you can use a de-esser later as well once you start boosting high end and stuff. But that way, at least you're starting with a little bit less S's and a little bit more, you know, a little less processing that you'll have to do on plugins. So these really powerful plugins, if you got the money and you can afford them, get them. But there's a lot of really cool tools and manual editing within Pro Tools. So that's what I wanted to show you in this module. Next module, I'm going to start showing you how to line up and start to get the timing right and gain structuring all these clips and making sure the audio is really, really at a great starting point before We start mixing, we start throwing compressors, EQs, all this stuff, and sweetening. All right, let's go.